I was going to make some notes for this video, but I decided not to because I believe it's important that sometimes things I say can be challenged. I might get things wrong. I wanted to get facts. Like I wanted to hit some facts, like make sure your facts are right, Tim, because I believe in facts. You know what I mean? I'm a facts not feeling kind of guy. So I thought I don't want to put a video out here where I'm saying something and people go, actually, Tim, I think you'll find. I'm like, okay, you know, so I want to make sure I'm okay. Now, here's the thing. Also, I think it's important that sometimes we can be wrong. We can say things that maybe in the heat of the moment was a bit cavalier. We didn't really understand the nuance of the problem. We didn't really understand the law about what we could say, what we couldn't say. I think that's important that these things happen. So I might get facts wrong. And people in the comments can say, Tim, I understand what you're saying about this, mate, but actually what the facts are is this. And you know what I'll do? I'll apologise. Yeah, sorry about that. I'll look it up. Yeah, no, you're right, mate. You know, I apologise quite a lot. Now, what happened recently, of course, and we have seen it, was there was a woman that put on Facebook, she put a bit of a crass comment about mosques, didn't she? She said, I can't even say what she said on here because she's going to jail. So I can't say it in case I go to jail. And also, I believe that she should be able to say it. And then she should be able to be challenged for saying it. So she said that I'm going to put this in a nice way, not a way that she necessarily put it. She said that she thought all the mosques should be dismantled, destroyed, whatever it is. She used another word, you know, a quick way of doing that, let's say. And that was seen as being, I don't know, hate speech, I guess. And now she's been locked up for it. See, I don't believe in hate speech law. It's a very difficult thing. I believe you should be able to say whatever you want. Now, of course, what it means is if there's a vulnerable person and I'm launching loads of speech about this person and saying how horrible they are, yeah, I guess something has to be done about that. But I'd like to think population around me, friends, family, whatever it might be, people I work with would say, stop being a dick. That's unreasonable. Now, let's pretend that didn't work. Then, of course, we probably have to have something in there that stops people doing it. My argument being that incitement of violence is that law. And that's the law that this woman seems to have broken, the incitement to violence. The difference being, she didn't really mean it. It was never, you know, you can't dismantle all the mosques in the UK. She knows that. I mean, we all know that. She's obviously come back from a hard day at work as a solid British woman, let's say, and she's just sick of what she sees on the news. She's sick of, like, Keir Starmer saying he's going to protect the mosques, not protect the 3 girls that were killed down in Southport. He's not going to put any extra up for the British people to be protected, but he's going to protect people who should be guests in this country. No more so. That brings me on to an interesting point. I've written it down for you because I lost another friend. I can't work in conventional employment, guys, not making these videos. No one employs me. So at an interview recently, I was going to go for an interview and recently it stopped. That they stopped before I even went there. They said, we've had a look at your social media profiles and we're not going to continue with the offer of an interview even, crikey. Which is why I've put there's memberships on here now. Have a look at memberships. I really appreciate the support of people because, guys, when I'm speaking out this, there's no one's employing me, which the wife loves, of course. But I do believe we should speak out. This guy wrote to me. And if any of you in the military asking who this guy was, he's an ex-military guy. And I saw him as a mate. Yeah, I haven't spoken to him in a few years. He does not like me very much. And if you are ex-military, he was a SAR pilot at Lossie, early 2000s, transferred onto multi-engines, didn't like mountain flying. Bit of a weird cap, but I always would, you know, in the bar, have a few beers and that kind of stuff because I like the waifs and strays. I like the people that other people don't necessarily like. I kind of lean into them a little bit and, you know, you want to make sure they're all right. And, you know, hey, people don't like us all the time. So it's good that when other people lean in and just check we're all right. And I did that to that guy for many, 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 many years. Anyway, he said, so he actually copied a tweet that I put out. I didn't even realize he was following me on Twitter, never engaged with me in 5 years, sent me something on Facebook and then blocks me or something. I don't know how that stuff works. The tweet he sent was, I'll put it on the screen here and I'll move over here so you can see it. That one on that top left, you can see there. Basically, all I said was, look, the UK is an island. It belongs to the British people. Well, actually, Great Britain technically is an island, isn't it? It belongs to the British people and everyone else here is a guest. I'm struggling to find out in that what's not true. It is true. Everyone that comes to the UK who is not British is a guest of the British people. The British people that have done so much to make this a great place to live. I don't think anything wrong with that. He did. Oh, he did indeed. I've written it down. I'll read it to you. I'll put it up again here so you can see. He's written me this thing. I never knew I was a guest in this country. So if you think about these people, there's something wrong with them a little bit in their head. And to be fair, he goes straight into the virtue signaling, probably into the self-esteem issues, whatever, that kind of stuff. Like, how dare you? I'm such a victim. I'll put it up there. I never knew I was a guest in this country. Please never try to talk to myself, the grandchild of an illegal refugee, my immigrant wife, or my dual nationality child ever again. If you see me in town, I'm ashamed to ever called you my friend. Well, first off, I'm not ashamed because I don't do that. I realise that people go through different times in their lives, and this man may be feeling quite vulnerable. The bit about the illegal refugee, if you're seeking asylum in the UK, it's not legal. You can seek asylum in the UK, of course you can. I didn't realise an immigrant wife. I didn't realise this dude was the grandchild of an illegal I mean, that's crazy. The grandchild of an illegal refugee. How far-fetched you want to get it, mate? You know what I'm saying? He was in the military, right? I never realised anything of this, and also I didn't care. What I did care about is how good he was in the air. I cared about how nice of a dude he was. You know, he was a good dude. He's all right. I didn't care about any of this rubbish here at all. But he does care about it. See, it's him. It's important. He's made this into his identity. I think that's where we're starting to walk into problems in the UK. I think when we start looking at the rise of Islam in the UK, 6.5% now, it's obviously a lot more than that, isn't it? That's just what we know about. We've now got these rules coming in. It's the Islamophobia rule. If you're outside the UK, we've got this Labour government in under a guy called Keir Starmer, who's an activist. He's actually, I think, got some real psychotic issues. So is Khan in London, of course, Sadiq Khan. I think there is some psychopathy, weird stuff going on with a lot of people at the very senior levels of Labour and probably the Conservatives. So we are saying basically that Starmer's saying he's going to protect the mosques, not the British people. And I think Islam lean into this, and they're like, we're victims, we need protecting. I think a lot of Muslims lean into this, and I think what the British people are saying pretty much, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments here, because I'm very interested in your viewpoints, because I can get it wrong. I try and read a lot, read The Guardian, all that kind of stuff, but I know I get it wrong. So lean in, hit the comments. I think what the British people are saying is, look, just be a guest. Stop messing around. You know, come in here. Stop walking down the high streets with bladed articles. Remember that police officer said, look, if you've got weapons, put them back in the mosque. What's that about? Why is he not charged for that? Or that Labour councillor who was saying I don't want to use the language he used. I'll see if I can put up a picture of it maybe there so you can see it. Terrible behaviour. It's absolute two-tier policing. I'm come from a police family, and I know I'm the first person to say, no, the police are doing a great job. Absolutely not. I think it's the Met Police more than anything else. But the two-tier policing is absolutely the thing in the UK. We really don't want to ruffle the C word, communities. And that's another thing that I absolutely hate, is the way that the Labour Party is driving people into this identitarian politics. Communities. I look at British people, all right? Just British people. It doesn't matter who you are, mate. It's fine. You know, I walk every morning, whatever, I walk past a load of builders. They're like, oh, mate, what's going on? I socialise with accountants and finance guys, hedge fund managers. I've got people in my school that are, you know, there's a lecturer on my school today, trauma surgeons, all that kind of stuff. British people, right? All British people. Yet Labour want to talk about protecting the communities, the Muslim community, Sikh community, Hindu community, Jewish community. What is it, a black community now? I don't know. There is a community they're not interested in protecting, of course, and that's the white community. And that's because the majority of British people are white. The majority, don't get me wrong, not everyone. Of course, I mean, I grew up watching Linford Christie, Daley Thompson, Frank Bruce. Of course, British men as more British than I am probably, you know what I mean? But before 1940, there was less than about 1% of people in the UK that weren't white British from the previous 1,000 years. So we tend to be a white British nation, white British Christian nation. And whether you think we're Christian or not, whether we're under the Church of England, etc., and there's another thing, isn't it? The Church of England dropping the word church. So much going on right now. I'll tell you why that is in a second. The truth about it is, of course, that, yeah, you know, we're a British nation, whether you like or not. We're a Christian nation with Christian values. The values we hold in the United Kingdom are Christian values. Most definitely not from C of E now, not from Church of England. It's ceasing to be a church. The new things, I think 900 new things in the last decade they've gone after, trying to find some relevance. Justin Welby is an absolute disgrace as far as I'm concerned. But I'm a Catholic man, I'm able to say that. So why are these things all happening? So why we've got laws now that are going to arrest people for pushing hateful beliefs? I want them to push hateful beliefs. I want people to be hateful, and I want to be able to question them on their hate. Like, mate, what you're saying about that community is not right. What's up? They go, yeah, let's pretend everything's demonetizing it if I say these words, so I'm going to be very careful. Let's pretend someone says teddy bears. Let's pick a social group, a demographic. All teddy bears are terrorist bombers or whatever. And you go, mate, that's obviously not true, is it? You know what I mean? I'm using the word teddy bear because if I said the group that people identify with, then you know, this video gets taken down. And I'll say, mate, that's not true. I've got a mate at work. That's not. I've got, you know, blah, 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 blah. So it's, but I want to hear what they're saying, because if you don't hear it, it goes underground. It goes like Alex Jones-esque, doesn't it? He goes underground, you can't hear what he says anymore. Does that make sense? And we want to be able to hear what people say anymore. It's very important. So what Starmer needed to say really after those 3 young girls were killed down in Southport, and he didn't, instead of him saying things like, there's no reason for rioting, my brain has to go off on this, guys. It has to go in these different tangents. I know you're thinking, where's he going next? I have to, because there's so much going on. I think it's intentional. What Starmer should have said after those 3 young girls were killed, he should have said, look, you know, I feel your pain. I feel your pain, because we're all in pain in the UK right now. There's a lot of pain going on. Of course there's pain. It's our country, and look what's happening to it. Of course there's pain. He should have said, look, I feel your pain. We're going to try and do something about this. We're going to look at where this energy is coming from, this second generation immigrant. Why is this happening? Why does someone want to stab up young girls? What's that going on? We're going to look into this. We're as a matter of urgency. He didn't. What he said is there's no reason to riot. There's no reason to riot. The rest of the British people go, mate, there's every reason to riot. This is an absolute disgrace of a government. And the Conservatives were a disgrace of a government as well. 14 years, and now they complain about the military not being, I mean, it's like, mate, you did that. The Conservatives, you did that. You just cut spending from the military. You cut spending from everything in the last 14 years. And now you're turning around and you're having a go at Labour. You should be in the wilderness right now as a Conservative government. Labour should be in the absolute wilderness. I mean, Reform haven't got the capability to do anything. We are absolutely lost. And this is my argument about democracy failing. When do the people turn around and say, it's not good enough? Now, I'm not inciting anything because that's illegal. I'm definitely not doing that, guys. There has to be another reason. And hit the comments if you know what it is, because I'm lost on it. 100% I'm lost on it. They're making extreme misogyny now. It's going to be treated as terrorism. What, does that mean that you go into the Islamic faith now and you arrest? No, it doesn't. They're not aiming it at that community. The thing about calling it communities, and I'll leave it now, guys, over 12 minutes. The problem with calling everything a community is you don't have any cohesion. This is how Yugoslavia broke down. It was under a communist dictatorship under Tito, if I remember correctly. If my facts are wrong, please tell me. And then when democracy was introduced, the whole thing fell apart. Why? Because there were competing factions, weren't there? All competing for very limited resources. What do you think's going to happen here in the UK? What do you think that email from that dude that wrote to me saying, never speak to me again, Tim? The guy I used to know, I called a friend. I still call him a friend. He doesn't call me a friend anymore. How that language he uses there, that's the country doing this. That's the country being divisive. I flew with that man. Like, I was on the same airfield with that man for like half a decade. And now he doesn't want anything to do with me because of something he's read. He's taken something, obviously don't bother to have any context with that, but I believe it to still be true. Britain is for the British. If you're not British, you're here as a guest. Get some time in. If I went and lived in France, do you think I'd go to France and try and change the way the French govern? No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. I'd go to France as a guest. I'd be a guest in France. I'd learn French. I'd go and buy baguettes and shit. And I'd try and become French. I'd do the time. That's all I'm saying. Do the time. And that's the problem. People aren't doing the time. And we're not holding to account. The government's not holding to account. We as the British people not holding to account. We're trying, but these laws are coming out. Pushing hateful beliefs now is going to be a crime. Is what I'm saying now going to be a crime? And this is the problem. Labour will just clamp down on everything. So what's going to happen? You're going to be afraid to speak. And if you're afraid to speak, you're going to be afraid to with your thoughts, to expose your thoughts up. That's what's going to be happening. To be honest, guys, it pisses me off. I don't know what the answer is, but that's what the comment section is for. I'm sorry if my brain's going all over the place right now, but the reason all these things are hitting us at the moment is so that we can't concentrate on one thing at one time. I want to make a video about combating these misogynistic, or the misogynism as terrorism. I want to make a video about that, but I can't because I do that, and all of a sudden the Church of England takes the word church out of its name, and then someone writes to me telling me how hateful a person I am, and I'm like, I'll address that, and then there's something else saying hateful beliefs now is a problem. I mean, come on. They do it on purpose to keep us occupied. No one's watching a 15-minute video. I'm going, all right, guys, I appreciate it anyway. Thank you. If you do sub to the channel, men like me can't work traditionally, so I have my school, and you know how it is, guys. It's not good for the wife, is it? So I appreciate if you take one of those subs out, whatever they are. And if you do take one of the higher tiers, I will do stuff for you. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching this. That means a lot to me. Stick together, all right, British people. Tim Davies, Flush It Performance.